If you have spent any time on YouTube within the last year, odds are you've probably heard of this dude. His name's Neistat, and while he got his filmmaking career started with a quick little clip for Apple talking about how bad the iPod battery sucked, it turned into a series with his brother on HBO, and he's done myriad campaigns for brands like Nike, J. Crew, and a ton of others. The big thing that he's known for is his daily vlogs, or at least that's the case for the last year. Well, today I'm going to talk about how Neistat uses his aesthetic as a major part of his personal brand. While he wants you to think it's a random hodgepodge mix of different variables, it's all very deliberate and very intentional. He's been making films for years, and just recently had one in which he snowboards behind a Jeep in the middle of New York City during Blizzard 2016 go absolutely viral. So let's start with Neistat's most recognizable features and work out from there. The most prominent article of clothing that shows up in almost every single one of his videos is his custom pair of Ray-Ban Wayfarers. While they do serve a functional purpose, they allow him to watch himself in the screen as opposed to looking in the lens, which basically allows him to maintain the illusion of having eye contact with the audience. There's so much more than that. They're intentionally beaten up, and he invests not a small amount of time in getting them to look as well used and thrashed as he can possibly get them without actually sacrificing the way that they work for him. While the original look may have been something that happened both naturally and organically, every subsequent pair goes through quite the process in order to make them look custom, well used, and ill cared for, which is another aspect of Neistat's overall aesthetic. A significant portion of his wardrobe consists of threadbare items that look as if they've seen better days. Not most, but still a good portion of his clothes, especially his jeans, have a lot of holes and they show a lot of wear and actual distressing. And not the faux distressing that you get when you buy something pre-distressed at the mall. The real deal that comes from treating clothing as fungible, replaceable items. To a man like Neistat, the appearance of being too neat, too put together, too concerned with his appearance all runs counter to two major parts of the image that he actually wants to portray. The first is that he cares so much about function that it often comes at the expense of form, something he's completely fine with. And the second is that he's such a free spirit that he does not ever want to color within the lines. Not only does Neistat understand this, he uses it as a big part of his personal branding. Not wanting to shill for any particular brands, he goes out of his way to cover, remove, or completely destroy any logos or branding that's on any of the clothing he wears or any of the products that he uses. Neistat doesn't care, or at least wants you to think he doesn't care. That his coat is made from Canada Goose, his sunglasses are from Ray-Ban, and all of his camera gear is made by Canon. While he never denies the brands who make any of the products he wears or uses, he does go out of his way to avoid any affiliation with them. It's an intentional move. It takes time to tape over jacket patches, grind out resin, and scrape off stickers. If he truly didn't care, he just wouldn't do anything at all. He'd leave the logos alone. But he cares. It's just from a point of negative association as opposed to a positive one. Neistat's style is deliberately casual, which I believe is due in large part to the fact that he's on the tail end Generation X. Not only is he part of a different generation than the majority of his viewers, he also had to grow up quickly for two reasons. One is an admittedly rough relationship with his own parents, and the second, the fact that he had a kid on his own at a really early age. As a result, Neistat is much more likely to see the world through the lens of rebellion against the man. It's a trope that started out with the baby boomers and continued on through different movements up to and even including things like the skate and punk scenes of the late 90s, early 2000s. I'm just a few years younger than Neistat myself, and I identified with a lot of these same ideals as I was growing up. For guys of this mindset, there is nothing more restrictive, nothing more oppressive, nothing more boring than the safe corporate uniform of a dark suit and a tie. And while he may occasionally wear a suit or even create a film in which he's advertising one, Neistat always tries to keep his suiting as casual as he possibly can. Skinny ties, skinny lapels, small collars with the top button left undone, and almost always a pair of sneakers are the mainstays of Neistat's suiting style. While he will wear a suit when he has to, his daily bread and butter consists of jeans or joggers, a t-shirt and or a crew neck sweater, a pair of high tops, some wristwear that is often a combination of either a high-end watch, maybe an Apple Watch, and then a few kind of straps, beads, and anything else that he happens to be wearing. And in the cooler months, a few layers of some black jacketing. Neistat both embraces and defies the negative, nerdy connotations that come with things like wearing a fanny pack or a cell phone belt clip, and keeps a point and shoot camera holstered on his belt at all times. Even his tattoos and their apparent random placement are all designed to look as unplanned as possible. If they were too neat, too planned out, or too well placed, they wouldn't contribute to his brand, they detract from it. And don't think that Neistat isn't a fan of order and organization. Just take a look at his studio tour video and pay attention to how meticulous he is about labeling items, making sure everything has a place, and even creating this pretty unique, really cool, and very organized system of getting rid of cable clutter, something that the majority of the rest of us just kind of deal with. Neistat is absolutely a man who enjoys order, but only when it's his own flavor of order. His hair, his tattoos, the handwritten names and return addresses that he puts on his gear and his clothes, his casual attitude, even his threadbare clothes, they all contribute to one overall aesthetic: organized chaos. It's the life he leads and the message he sells. Of the three archetypes, I'm scoring him at 70% rakish, 25% rugged, maybe 5% refined. If you want to know more about these three different archetypes, rugged, refined, and rakish, I've got a place for you to learn how you fit within these. I've got a link down here below. Go take the quiz, and based on your answers to a few of these different questions, it's going to let you know. It is a phenomenal starting point for being able to understand how you should be dressing in order to improve your appearance, and especially so you can make your style as intentional as Neistat's. You may not need to dress as casually as he does. It may not need to be as chaotic, but you do want to dress and develop an appearance that's absolutely as intentional as Neistat's, because it can help you with your personal brand just as much as his does for him.